I want to thank you very, very heartily for your lecture, because the point you made that the image of Jesus can help for a better understanding between Christians and Muslims, I have made that point very often, and in my book, which is unfortunately in German, but which deals with Jesus and Mary in Islamic mysticism, I have put that, and one of my German Muslim friends, oh, it's completely irrelevant. This is just, these are old stories, which angered me no end, as you can imagine. In any case, if you permit me, may I say a few additional things about Jesus in Sufi literature, because this is my major field, and when you go to Persian Sufi literature, you find many of the stories which you mention here in your paper, but also some of them which I haven't found anywhere else. Fariduddin Attar, in his great Musibatname, the story of the man who spent 40 nights in the Chilla, in the Arba'in, and goes through all the created beings, finally reaches the 7 great prophets, and the last before the Prophet Muhammad is Jesus. And the description Attar gives of Jesus in this book of his is absolutely wonderful, because he is a luminous being, the one who has done everything to perfect life. And then the master explains him, and the first story he tells is the story of the dog's carcass. And then it goes on, and perhaps you know that the story of the dog's carcass, which was very prominent in Persian literature, was even put into poetry by Goethe in the Noten und Abhandlungen zum Westöstlichen Divan. So it had reached Germany already in 1817. And it was probably the first story about Jesus that came into German literature. And in the poetry of Rumi, we have a number of very wonderful stories. For instance, one story which is absolutely ludicrous, it tells how Jesus ran away through deserts and mountains, and a man ran after him and said, "Where are you flying? You can cure the sick, you can make the blind seeing, you can even cure the dead and make them alive again. From whom are you fleeing?" And Jesus said, "From the stupid people." So it goes on, and perhaps I could, of course, tell stories no end, but I would like to mention also one more thing, namely the enormous role that Jesus plays in dreams of Muslims. In my book on dreams, I have a chapter, and you mentioned one to my great delight. And very interestingly, in many of the early dreams, even of the Umayyad caliphs, they often see the Prophet, Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman, and Ali, and Jesus.
Yes.
He's always sitting with them.
Yes.
And for Ibn Arabi, Jesus becomes his special friend who invests him with the wilaya, the greatest wilaya, and he becomes Khatam al-Wilaya. So I think the role of Jesus in Sufism is something absolutely wonderful. And another topic which could again form the theme for a whole lecture is how Jesus appears in modern Arabic and Persian poetry. Think of Iqbal, think in the Arabic world of many of the modern writers. I just got in Tunis a book of a young Tunisian writer with a poem on Jesus, who was not crucified and was just crucified by all the people who told lies about him and things like that. And in Iran, we have this very tragic poem by Shamlu. We have other poems by Atashi. In short, the figure of Jesus never ceases to be alive, and I think your lecture has given us a wonderful basis on which we can work again, and especially it has given us a beautiful consolation for continuing our work in better understanding between the two religions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.